I'm Trio. Welcome to You've Got This, Sis. I believe there are times we need a sis to see us for who we are, where we are, exactly how we are, and then see all that we can be. The sis that can do that with each of us is a real treasure. I've had my moments, sis. I realize that our connections to one another are absolutely gold. I know there are times that we journey solo, and there are times we journey with others. Both are completely necessary for our growth and increased strength as women. You are here with me, and I am here with you. And we will journey wherever you are now to your best self, always. Welcome to You've Got This, Sis. Hey everybody, and welcome to the show today. I'm going to say welcome to You've Got This because the more I think about You've Got This, Sis, I also realize that I'm serving others that are male and that are joining us or listening in. And I'm so grateful for that because I want to reach as many people as possible and to offer hope to as many people as possible. Today, I want to focus on the word that I chose, and I gave a little introduction in last week's podcast with Erin. I chose courage for my word this year, and each year around this time, I go ahead and wade through probably a series of 5 words that come to my heart, and then I settle on one. In the past, it's been worthy. It's been bold, it's been becoming, it's been many of those words, and I usually whittle them down to a word that really is going to challenge my growth. And this year, I chose courage. And I looked at the different words, like the synonyms for courage, and one of them was tenacity and bravery. And I go back to courage because when I think of courage as being something that is more quiet but strong. I think of courage as somebody who is stepping forward into the light and doing what's right, regardless of what the mainstream is saying. And I really feel like courage is my word this year because I feel like that's going to bring me more into alignment with my higher self, which is ultimately my goal each and every day, is to partner with that higher self, to partner with my God, and to say, help me, walk with me, and help me become who you see me to be. And when I've had that perspective, I'm more okay with things that don't go exactly the way they're planned. I'm more patient with myself. I'm more patient with those around me. And I'm more trusting in my God. Now, there's a lot going on in this world. And I'm an empath. And so as an empath, I want to, in some cases, fix things. But in other cases, I feel really deeply things and emotions that are around me. And so right now in our world, it's a little chaotic and it's a little crazy. And I've been intentional about not watching the news because then I'll go into this mode of I need to fix that. I need to do something. And while I'm doing something, which to me this podcast is my effort of putting good into this world, social media on Instagram and on Facebook and on ygtsis.com. That is my way of putting good into this world. A little bit of my light that I'm giving to you because I can't solve the crazy. The only thing I can do is to lead myself and to do what I can do to help myself grow. And for me, I want to get to the end of this year and ultimately to the end of my life and look back and not have regrets. Now, I feel like I've come a long way, but I still have a long way to go. And I also really buy into or know that if I'm not moving forward, that if I stay stagnant, then I get depressed, I'm not happy, I'm not in the becoming. And that's why I chose that word that one year, is because I really needed to step into motion. I needed to step into growth. I needed to support things and habits that would lead me into becoming more of who I'm to be, which is also the alignment idea. But you guys, it can be really hard. It can be really hard when everyone else sees you to be this, or family members that you've grown up with know you to be a certain way. It's not bad, but it can sometimes limit us or put us back in a past time in our life that we have grown out of and that no longer fits. And so having the courage really to own where you are and to let go of what isn't true for you anymore, it takes work. And it takes some recognition to call people on it. Or to, in a way, for me, to stand up for who I'm trying to be, to create my boundary, and not allow somebody else's narrative to write who they think I am. I hope that makes sense, because sometimes I am in my own thoughts, and I get that, but hopefully what I'm sharing with you is helpful and it's valuable. Because what I do know is that it's easy to get sidetracked, distracted. It's easy to let other people's voices come into our mind and we start to adopt that voice as our own when it isn't. You know, I get that sometimes it's easier to try to be what everyone else needs us to be rather than to reflect on our own heart and to align our heart and our actions and our thoughts with who we feel guided to be. And so I find that word for me as encourage really, really important this year. It's courage to do things I've never done before. I'm going to be taking a new job. So those of you that were following me on social media when I posted last year about going in for my job interview, I did get the job and I'm really grateful. And so I'm going to start that up and stepping into something that is somewhat familiar, but still very different than something I've ever done before. I also feel like I need courage to be the mother I wish to be, because I've never been a mother of the 16-year-old that I have right now. And not only that, but his brothers are so different than him that with each of them I have to have courage to step up and be the mother that each of them need, because they all have different needs emotionally, and knowing what it is that one is needing versus another is really important. Yesterday was the first day that my kids went back to school after the holiday break. And our youngest is 9. And he usually does really, really well going to school. Usually not humdrum about it, somewhat excited most of the time. In first grade, he had a bit of a problem. He didn't really want to go. He struggled to like school, but he loved his teacher. And so at one point, there was a little system set up where he was given a special job to be the school greeter because he really didn't want to go to school. And so they said, you know what? Let's give you a special job so that it gives you something to look forward to every day. And he loved his greeter job. And so I reached out to the principal and I let her know. I said, look, he's having a hard time again. A lot of anxiety was building up. And I didn't know exactly why. I tried to ask him, but at 9 years old, sometimes you don't really know what it is. Even when we're in our 40s, it's sometimes hard to pinpoint why we are feeling a certain way. But I do know that the night before he had said to me, Mom, do you know what the COVID levels are? And I just said, no, honey, I don't. Of course, I had looked the day before and they were in the red and severe, but I told him, no, I don't. And then he said to me, Mom, COVID affects those that are really old and really young, right? So I'm going to be okay and you're going to be okay. And I said, yes, honey. If anything happens to us, we're going to be okay. Like, we have strong bodies that are healthy and that can fight off sickness and illness. Because I don't feel that there's anything that might serve him in giving him more detail than that. If something went awry, then we deal with it then. And I feel the same way about letting him know about the COVID levels. That's not something a 9-year-old in 3rd grade should really have to worry about. Like, school's in, everybody's being really cautious, masks are on, sanitizing hands is a more than daily and probably more than hourly thing. And so after I reached out to the principal and she talked to his teacher, they gave us a call and his teacher talked to me and I just kind of let her know what was going on. And then she did the best thing ever. She said, is he there? Could I talk to him? And I said, yeah, he's here. And she talked to him and she asked him how his Christmas was. And he was like, it was great. And she said, okay, well, what'd you do? Where'd you go? And he told her. And then she asked him, am I going to see you at school tomorrow? And he goes, yes, I will be there. And I was so happy to hear that because it was his own decision-making process of being able to face something scary, to have courage, to commit to somebody that, yes, I'm going to be there, even though I'm scared, to go. And I don't exactly know why I'm scared, but I'm going to have courage to do something that is really freaking me out right now. Not only that, but they did set up a little job for him. And his job is to go greet the principal every single morning for this week. To say, good morning, I'm here today. And I love that because we take something that can become very scary and make it something that's doable. And so much of our life can be that way. And sometimes it's good to just simplify things a little bit and to break it down so it's not such a huge mountain to climb, but to do one day at a time, one step at a time, having courage that you are going to know what it is for you in the next moment, in the next step. And so I am stepping into my word this year. I am stepping into having courage because it's a crazy world and I don't have all the answers. And if I let myself, I could get really anxious and really nervous and probably overwhelmed and scared. But I don't want to be that way. And so I create a little bit of a bubble for myself because I know the things that will cause me anxiety and sadness and nervousness and all of that. I want to be educated, but I don't necessarily need to bring external stress into my life that doesn't need to be there. So like I said, I don't watch the news. I don't really identify with all the politics going on. I will say that there's good people in this world, and I identify with really good people that have good hearts and good intentions and that want good things. Those are my people. I don't need a political party. I just need good people that are going to stand up for what's right and that I can align myself with and be like, yes, you are somebody that needs to be a part of my world and of my life. And I want to be a part of yours. And that's how I am aligning myself. I'm stepping forward and trying to do good because there's a lot of good that needs to be done. And I invite you to join me in doing whatever good you can, whether it's posting something positive on social media, it's giving somebody a call, letting them know that you care about them, giving your parents a call, asking how they are. Oftentimes I call my parents and they're like several states away, and I'll find out information from them that my sister who lives closer than I do had no idea about. So it's just really, it's kind of funny, but having those connections, even when we're distanced and far away, or just distanced, is important because we still need the connections in our life. And there are others who are very much secluded at this time and raising families and having young ones, and that need to know that they're not alone. And there are others who are living their life, and their life isn't maybe necessarily the way they envisioned it. And that can create some aloneness as well. And nobody needs to be doing this life, especially right now, solo or alone. So if anything, put out your goodness and have courage. Don't be afraid to say hello or to smile even underneath your mask, because your eyes will smile for you. And it's important that others are, that we're all feeling as much of a connection and love as possible at a time that is so foreign and somewhat different. And I'm not saying it's bad. There's a lot of good that came out of 2020. But we're stepping into 2021, and there's a lot of questions that are yet to be answered. There's a change of presidency. Like, there's a lot going on. And I just feel like courage is where I need to be, what I need to embracing. And for those of you that do know me, I'm not necessarily a really outgoing person. I am a bit more reserved. And so sometimes having courage to speak up or to catch somebody's attention is a little bit of a difficulty for me. And so if you identify with that, then you'll understand why I have to have courage to do those things. But you guys, I am so glad that we get this life, that we get this one life. I posted on social media last week about Joan of Arc. I've always loved her story because to me, she's the epitome of courage. She was placed in a leadership position of a French army at 16, and then she was burned at the stake by the age of 19 because she would not disown her beliefs. And I just think of how much courage that took to do that, but also how steadfast she was in knowing her beliefs, that she could stand up for them. And I appreciate her story because I want to be like that. I want to know myself so well inside and out that I know what I stand for, and I know that I would not disown certain things, if that makes sense. And in doing that, I would have courage to stand up for what's right. And I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying what each of us know to be right, and that we have that so firm in our hearts that there wouldn't be wiggle room in that arena. That we would be willing to fight to the death for what we know to be right. And I'm not sure that many of us have that anymore. And so that takes courage too. That takes courage to be able to own what you know to be true and right, and to be your beliefs, and to speak up and to know them so firmly in your heart that it would be something you are going to always stand up for. And that to you is what is right. And of course, there's shifts that can happen through your lifetime, because for me, I'm always growing. But that doesn't necessarily mean my what I know to be right changes. It usually means that I become more open-minded, and what I know to be right falls into more alignment as I become more open-minded. You guys, this is going to be a great year, and we're going to do it together. So be sure to find me every week here on You've Got This, Sis. Go ahead and subscribe, because if you do, then you'll be automatically reminded when a new podcast comes out. I'm excited because I'm going to have some great guests on, and the things that connect us most are everybody's stories. We're all different individuals, but our stories often resonate with one another, and I love that, because it's often a gift that we are able to give one another, and sharing our stories and sharing our hearts and being genuine and authentic and real and just being there for each other. So welcome to You've Got This, Sis, and I hope to see you next week. You guys rock. So go win your day. Have a great one. Bye. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope that you have an amazing day and week. Until next time, sis, be sure to remember that you've got this. Also, go on and check out ygtsis.com. There you can find out what we're up to, podcasts, YouTube videos, and even the shop. Don't worry, it's a great place to be. It's a little bit of unwinding. It's a whole lot of real, and it's exactly what you need. Go check it out, ygtsis.com.